right, everybody. It's so good to be with you guys today at Crafted. Crafted Church Growth. Super excited for this brand new podcast that we're going to be doing. And, a while back, somebody had asked me, they said, Pastor, I think you really should do a podcast. And so we were talking about, like, what should the podcast be about? And I didn't want it to be about, self-centered or about us, but really have a heart to help churches break some barriers. I think it's key right now to help churches break some barriers. A while back, maybe a couple years ago, I was in a meeting and they were breaking down the numbers that are in churches right now. And there's a lot of churches that are hitting maybe 100 to 150, maybe even 200. And a lot of those churches, they've been in that place for a while. And I think when I heard that, that's when I really caught the burden. I said, man, I really want to help some of the churches grow. We don't know everything, but, there is a little bit of fruit that we have,
Yeah, there's a lot of fruit. We have the campuses in our church.
Well, we have two campuses in North Las Vegas.
Yeah, bilingual in the North Campus.
Yeah.
Then just launched out to Green Valley.
Yes.
That one's we're already seeing fruit from that already.
Yeah.
And then West Las Vegas, the church he launched out to.
Yeah, launched out a church at the west side. So yeah, there's a little bit of fruit. We've got our campuses. So it'll be 4 campuses that we have throughout the valley. And then also a church that we launched out to the west side. So yeah, there's a little bit of fruit that God has given to us. And so I think that's what it is. I think it's having the burden to take a little bit of that experience, a little bit of that fruit, and to be able to share it with pastors and church leaders that say, you know what, man, I want to go to another level. It's a brand new year, man. It's a brand new year. And so everybody's shooting high right now. And I think that's really my heart, We had a little journey. If you think about the journey, you got to experience it. You were just a baby.
I was a young kid. I love our journey. I think from the first building in Betty and Owens, I was like 7, 8 years old. And I remember.
Well, first of all, if you don't know who this is my co-host. He's my son,
yeah.
Josiah Garcia. He's our youth, high school youth leader, young adult leader here in our church. Also a regional leader. And so, he's my son, but he's been on the journey with us,
Right. Yeah. So I remember from the very beginning coming out here, and I'm your son, so I got to come out here. So we came to Vegas.
No choice.
Yeah. Came to Vegas, and I remember the church just taking off crazy from the beginning, from 3 people in the living room.
Yeah.
To doing church in the living room, to getting buildings, and just seeing the growth and how fun it was. I didn't even know we were pioneering. It was just so fun.
Right? You just thought there's something we were doing.
It's life, yeah. It was fun, though.
I said, this is my dad's job. Reaching people, building a church. But yeah, we started the church in our living room. It was me, my wife, of course the kids were little, and we had Ray Garcia and Deanna that had came with us from the mother church. When the mother church launched us out, they sent us with a little team. So we had a guitar player, we had a worship singer, and we had one of the guys that would help me, go out to the streets and evangelize and witness to people. And so, it started right there in our living room. And right away, man, we've seen families coming. We brought the UTC. I remember at that time we brought the UTC came out and they helped us in the very beginning. If you don't know what the UTC is, it's the Urban Training Center. It's a place where young people go and they get trained, not only to get strong in their relationship with God, but also they get trained to do the ministry, to do the work of the ministry. And the UTC came, and man, we hit the ground running, man. And we would do rallies and street rallies on the street and just reaching people. And the church took off, man.
Yeah, they did a drama too.
Yeah, we did in the house.
Yeah, in the house. Yeah.
We did a drama and a concert in our living room. While we built a stage, we put a stage in the living room. We had a rap concert, Christian rap concert. and people came out to that. And it just went from there, man, from the living room to a little church that we rented. It was an apostolic church, and we would have church in there on Sunday mornings. And then from the apostolic church, we got a little warehouse building. I think in the warehouse building is where the church like started to grow numerically. I think from the Betty and Owens, the little apostolic church, we probably like at 20, 25 people. But when we went into the warehouse is where revival took place.
Pastor Ed came there.
Pastor Ed Morales preached at our church.
Fire.
Pastor Sonny Jr. Preached at our church. Tim Story preached at our church. And man, there was revival in the warehouse building.
It was hot.
It was hot.
The warehouse was hot.
We had no air conditioner in the warehouse. It would get like 160 degrees in there.
Vegas heat's no joke.
Yeah, no joke. But people didn't want to leave. They stayed because there was revival. God was there. The presence of God was there. And I think we went from like 25, 30 people at Betty Owens into the warehouse. And the warehouse is where we broke 100. We broke 100 in the warehouse. Then after the warehouse, we went into the nightclub. And we rented a nightclub for a little bit. We'd have to go in there like at 5 o'clock in the morning and set up. But we went from 100 people to almost maybe like 180, 190 people in the warehouse building. We were there like maybe 7 months. And then the building opened up in Summerlin. Summerlin, man, that's where I think a lot of the leaders we have today they came in Summerlin.
Yeah, a lot of fruit from that area.
A lot of fruit from Summerlin. And a lot of the pastors that we have now in our church were getting raised up at that time when we were in Summerlin. And then from Summerlin, we went over back to the east side, the building that we're in now, and we're experiencing revival, man. There is a lot of numeric growth that is taking place, but also healthy growth.
Yeah, for sure. Everything we do is just people are coming out. We just did our Christmas thing. That the church was packed out. It was probably like what, 600-700 people.
About 700 people. People sitting in the foyer. People sitting in the cafe. They couldn't even fit. Right. We should have had 2 services, but we had one, and we just packed that thing out. People standing in the foyer. Kids sitting at the altar, sitting down on the floor. And there's revival. There's revival that's taking place. And so it leads me to this. It leads me to the podcast. A lot of the things that we're talking about, we really want to get that out there and really be able to invest in leadership. Maybe even some of the pastors continue to invest in some of the pastors and just see our churches grow. I really believe this year in the ministry of Victory Outreach that it's going to be a year of success. You know, a couple years back, our founder was talking about a 5-year window that God was opening for our ministry, that we were going to start to see mega growth take place. And we see it. You know, I've had the privilege recently to travel to some of the bases. I was there in one of our base churches there in Hollywood, also a base church there in Panama, also another base church there in South Africa, and had the opportunity to go to Guadalajara. And I tell you what, there is mega growth that is taking place all over the world, but there's also big growth, mega growth that's taking place in the States. You know, our mother church is growing. They're growing and growing. They're just leaps and bounds ahead. And man, the music, the quality of leadership, the growth that's taking place there, it's really something to look up to. You know, then we have our church there in San Diego, Pastor Al and Georgina. There's a lot of great things that are going on there. And then you could just continue to make your way down from there. You got East Las Vegas. We have our church there in Phoenix, Arizona. We have our church there in Mesa. Pastor Ezra there in West Covina. So there's revival. There's revival that is taking place in the ministry of Victory Outreach. And our founder talked about that 5-year window opening up and seeing some mega growth come. And we're experiencing that. Yeah. We're experiencing that growth too, right here in our church.
Yeah. So what we want you to do is we want you to subscribe. Right now, you can see it right there. If you look below, you can subscribe right there. And if you're looking at us on any other platforms, go to YouTube at Crafted Church Growth. And we also got TikTok.
TikTok. Talk about TikTok, man. This is crazy.
It's blowing up like crazy.
It's
now.
blowing up.
We have 44,000 followers. So
Wait a minute. Say that again.
44K.
44K followers on our TikTok.
Yeah.
Get on that. Get on that page.
Share it. Send it to somebody. Send it to somebody you know in a church. Even if it's not Victory Outreach, send it everywhere. We want to help everybody grow, right?
Yeah, we really want you to subscribe to the YouTube at Crafted Church Growth. Subscribe. We're building our subscribers on YouTube because we're going to go live. We're going to go live, and we have our date. Our kickoff date is going to be February 29th. Yeah. It's a Monday, so you want to get subscribed leading up to that day, February 29th. It's on a Monday. It's going to be our kickoff date, and we have 15 episodes. 15 episodes that we're going to be filming. We're going to talk about having an effective children's ministry, an effective worship ministry, also to effective evangelism, leadership development, and really keeping a pioneering spirit, man. I think that's what's needed. You know, I get invited to preach at churches, and they ask me, they say, Pastor Mono, what is it? What is it that you guys are doing? And I just like to say the same thing. I say, we are keeping a pioneering spirit. And that pioneering spirit is what has really allowed us to experience growth and also to experience momentum. I think as we're getting ready to go into this, all these episodes, that one of the things that is going to be so important is momentum. So starting to watch the episodes, watching it all the way through, build that momentum in your life. And I tell you what, when you have momentum, it will take you to the destination that God has for you. And really what the destination and the purpose of this podcast is to see churches grow. So catching momentum, riding momentum, and allowing God to take you to a whole nother level. And then also, too, it's going to be an interactive podcast.
They can comment, share any questions, anything.
Yeah, they could comment. They could share questions. They could call in. We'll have a line where you could call in. You can even come in and be live on our podcast. It's going to be cool. So as we're doing it, there'll be a lot of things that we share, but also to be able to get questions from our audience that is watching and be able to answer some of the questions that you have. So as you get subscribed, already get some answers in your mind and in your heart of things that you're going to be asking. And we're going to be able to try to help you guys really grow, man, really grow and get to that next level, man. So, yeah, talk a little bit, I don't know, more about getting signed up and our social media platforms, son.
Yeah, so we have YouTube at Crafted Church Growth. We have, if you go to our Instagram at our church page, you'll see all the upcoming announcements. And then TikTok. I was thinking, can we do something? Maybe it's like we can give a nugget to a church that maybe someone's watching, their church is at like 100, 150. They've been there for a while. What would be your number one nugget to help break that?
To help break that barrier, I think what's important is understanding your personal capacity. I think when I remember the day we were in Summerlin. I'll never forget. And I went to the church. It was a Saturday, and we were getting ready for evangelism. And I got to the church, and I got there, and everybody was there. Somebody had led prayer with everybody that was going to the streets. Somebody had prepared all the flyers that we were getting ready to hand out. All the maps of the areas that we were going to go to were already handed out to the different team leaders. And I remember standing there in the time of worship, and I felt not needed. And it was a weird feeling. I felt like I was not needed at that moment to lead the evangelism. But really what was happening is there was a capacity that I had, but what was taking place is other leaders, other men and women were starting to understand their capacity. So I think sometimes as a pastor is you have to understand the level of your capacity. Maybe your capacity is 100. You got to where you're at. You and your wife have got to where you're at. And that's your capacity. And it's okay. You got to be honest and say, okay, 100's my capacity. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a pretty big capacity. 100 people, that's pretty big. But to break that number and to break into new levels, now it becomes important to identify people in your church that are also people who have capacity. And now they can take on responsibilities in different areas of the ministry. And then before you know it, now they're operating at their capacity. Maybe their capacity is 25. And you have another leader whose capacity is 30. So now you just went from 100 to 155 people because other people are operating and they're working in their capacity. I think it's important, though, as a pastor, is you can't be embarrassed or ashamed if you say, man, my capacity is 100. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a pretty big number to be able to say, man, that I can shepherd just myself 100 people. That's pretty big, man. That's a lot. But if you're going to break that barrier, you got to identify people who also have capacity and begin to see them operate in the calling that God has for their life. And I think we've done that every step of the way.
Yeah, you've been good at, I think, just empowering people. Like stepping back and saying, okay, you run with it. I think that's one of your biggest things. Yeah. Go for it. Hey, Dad, we got an idea. Or someone comes, hey, you have an idea. Go for it.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad that can happen. You're going to see fruit from something.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say it because I was at, I think it was our New Year's Eve service, and one of the pastor's wife said, oh, my daughter, she has an idea, but she wanted me to share it with you because she goes, no, if I tell Pastor, he's going to say run with it.
But we've seen fruit from that, from you saying go for it.
Yeah, we've seen fruit and then all that, but the girl has capacity. Yeah. She has capacity to really do something for God. And so, yeah, I think that's important. So, yeah, that would be the nugget on this podcast is understand your capacity. If your capacity is 100, if your capacity is 50, you got to be okay with that and begin to identify people that also have capacity. And I tell you what, if you do that, you will experience numeric growth, And later on the podcast, on one of the episodes, we'll talk about how numeric growth is good, but also healthy growth is also good as well. Because I think sometimes people shoot for more numbers, but more numbers doesn't necessarily mean that the church is healthy. So we'll get into that stuff on other episodes. But again, get signed up, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Crafted Church Growth. You want to make sure you get signed up. And our kickoff day is going to be February 29th. It's going to be on a Monday. So we want you to get subscribed to our YouTube channel.
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell.
Yeah, hit the bell. It'll notify you right away. Turn your notifications on. So when we're up there, you got the notification right there.
Yeah. Tell a little bit about our gang, our God's Anointed Now generation, our third wave movement that's taking place in our church.
I'm excited. So we just met with the team, and this whole year we're going into something called Project 150.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So when we were at Winter Retreat, God placed it on my heart. And I was battling with them, like, okay, God, is this what you want to do? And I went and I picked somebody up from work, and I seen it on a box. And it said Project 150. And I was like, what the heck? So I'm like, this is what we're going to do. So we're doing it. What it's about is we want to see our gang go from 80, 90 people to 150 consistent young people. So what we did is we got 4 functions in the gang. We got our in-house evangelism. So that's an important one. We got in-house discipleship. So how's the church kid growing? How's everybody growing, and make sure they grow healthy in character and just the way that they're growing up. Then we got our gang, I Love My Cities. So we're happy for that. We're gonna do basketball tournaments. We're gonna do skate tournaments. We're gonna rent out recreation centers. Really just go after everybody. And then our newcomers ministry. We got to go after the newcomers. So Project 150, that's the vision for the year right there.
Yeah, he said something key is, and we're going to talk about one of our episodes. We do a thing here in our church called I Love My City. And so we're going to, even in one of the episodes, we're going to talk about branding your church, how important it is to brand your church. Because here in Las Vegas, they know our church for I Love My City. Yeah. They know our church for I Love My City. It's making a huge impact in Las Vegas. So many people have been touched and really affected by that particular ministry, I Love My City. And so yeah, I'm excited for you guys because I know our gang ministry, our third wave service, they've been hitting 90, 95. They hit 100. But I'm excited for you, son. I'm excited for you and the team and the leadership that say, man, we want to break that. Say, even as we're talking about breaking numbers, in our church, our local gang ministry, our youth ministry is breaking that hitting that number and breaking that and really breaking into some bigger numbers. 150 in our young adult, in our youth services. That's going to be powerful, man. So, yeah, I'm excited for you guys.
Then we contribute to the church growth from that, It all leads to that.
Oh, we're seeing that now. We're seeing a lot of the people that came in that were young, they're getting married now. Some of them are having babies, and everybody's growing up. And a lot of those young people are now part of our leadership team and really helping our church grow. So we're going to talk about stuff like that on this podcast. So, again, please get signed up to our YouTube, subscribe at Crafted Church Growth. Also, we have our TikTok. We have Instagram. Get prepared. February 29th is going to be our kickoff day. And, man, we look so forward to taking this journey with you. Taking this journey with you on these 15 episodes. Seeing your church grow, your leadership grow, and all of us growing this year and just going to a whole nother level. We love you guys, and we look forward to seeing you again on Crafted Podcast. God bless.